Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to the show. Today, I'm super excited to dive into today's conversation with Dorte Kjaerulff. She's Danish but lives in the UK with her English husband and 2 boys. She's spent over 15 years photographing and filming families in both Denmark and the UK. Her heart mainly beats for location work, and she loves getting mums into the picture. In 2020, she gained associateship in the UK Masters Photographers Association, and she is Child Photographer of the Year in her region for 2020, 2021, and 2022. Welcome!
Thank you very much, Lisa. I am so grateful to be here.
Well, I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. Can you share a little bit about really who you are and what you're really, really passionate about?
Yeah, I can. So like you said, I am a photographer, have been for 15 years. I am a filmmaker as well. But ultimately, I think I'm probably just a mum who's really worried that I'm not a good enough mum, and I worry at all the different stages, and I overcompensate by taking pictures and creating films to reassure myself that actually I am good enough, it's all fine. And I kind of love what all of that has brought to me and through the business. So I love it for what it brings to my family personally. I love it for what it can do in my business. Like I use it to create marketing materials, real stories. You know, like we can't get enough video content, can we? And I love how it's offered me something that I can give to clients. I can offer various formats to my family clients, but also to commercial work. Like there are so many opportunities for using film in the commercial world.
Yeah, I love that. How old are your kids?
Oh, they're 10 and 12. So, and actually I've got 2 boys, which is similar to your little boy, isn't it?
Yes, my son is 13, almost 14. And nobody prepared me for this stage. And it was funny because were your children the reason that you initially got into photography?
Yeah, that was when, the turning point to when it went from just something you do on the side to doing it full time.
Yeah, I know. I just kind of fell into it too. It just happened.
Yeah. But I think, when you're in the early days, everybody's like, oh God, this is tough. And you're just not good enough. Yeah. And you think, oh, it'll get better. And I'll grow out of that feeling of I'm not doing this right or I'm not doing it well enough. And then you just hit something else. Like I've had 2 parent fails today, and I think, how are they this age and I'm still failing?
Yeah.
And I still need this evidence. Yeah. I'm still obsessed with taking pictures with them to kind of leave this breadcrumb trail as evidence that, I really tried. I really wanted to be good to you guys.
I love that. And are your kids still cooperative to take photos with you?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
and I know it's not going to last, but so far, yeah, they are. In fact, my eldest, he's coming to a commercial shoot with me tomorrow because he's going to model for me. And he does that. He's very willing. Yeah.
Oh,
is
I
yours
love
still?
that. No, not at all. Not at all.
I know, so many people say that.
No.
And I'm terrified of that. Terrified.
It is. It is. It's so funny. Someone once told me that raising a son is like having the longest breakup of your life.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it is true. It's like there's less hugs. There's the snuggles are gone. And you don't know the last time you pick up your child is going to be the last time you pick them up.
No.
And that just kills me.
Yeah. Oh, completely. And my oldest, they're very green, our children, and he was still on holiday. Suddenly I kind of realized that he's coming, he's holding my hand, and I'm like, oh my God, don't play the magic. Yeah. And I think, oh God, he might never do this again. Right. And it is crazy. And I was having this conversation with a photography friend who has a much older son, and he just got married. And we were kind of talking, people stop being in pictures with their kids. When they're little and cute, we get in. And then there's this long phase, and actually sometimes the next picture you get with your son by a photographer is at his wedding. Yeah. And by that time he belongs to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. It's so funny because I was actually looking on social media last night, and I was looking for everyone who had children the same age that I did. Yeah. And I see no photos of them, but I also see no photos of them with their children or their children. No. And people stop putting children online for various reasons, of course, too, at this age. But it's fascinating to me that because I was always behind the camera or in front of the camera with my little, and now it's well, I just feel weird posting a selfie.
Yeah. No, but it's so true. So I was doing, actually it was some Instagram training or whatever, and I love and adore the lady I was doing it with, so I'm not saying this in a bad way at all, but she kind of said, oh, post all the babies, all the cute pictures, but 8 years and over, nobody wants to see it. And I know, why she was saying it, but I was still like, God, that hurts, because there is equal value in our children just because they're older. But it's like you do scroll and you go, yeah, they're just not
Yeah.
there. And I appreciate they reach an age where they go, I don't want to be on there. And we're edging into new territory where you start, and I think this is more with girls, but
Yeah.
you have to worry what you post in case their friends see what you post and they get upset
Yeah.
about it. And you're like, this is a minefield.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy. It's like we've never done this before. And even now, I ask my son if I'm going to post something with him online, I say, am I allowed to post this? Are you
Yeah, me
okay with
too.
this? And I have to ask permission.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I never even thought of that when he was little. Like
No.
never, it never even crossed my mind. I was like, it was like he was just an extension of me. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, you are your own person. And like, I really have to respect this.
Yes.
And it's fascinating. Like,
Yeah. It's fascinating and terrifying all rolled
yes,
into one.
it really is.
And I think that's why right now, because they are just on that cusp of growing into teenagers where I know from other people that they will probably go, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm like, I'm in a bit of a desperate kind of phase of I need all the pictures I can get, all the video I can get now before it's too late.
Too late. I know.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. I said to my husband, I was so funny because I was making a video for my son on his birthday. And I was like, dude, I was like, why didn't you take more video when Van was born? He's
Yes.
like, and I was like I have like only from like when he was 3 on. He's like, Lisa, he's like, our phones didn't take video back then.
I know.
I was like, oh, I'm giving you crap for something that wasn't beyond your control.
Yeah, but it is also, and it does always confirm that what we do for people is so valuable, because I always say this to the new moms, like they will have 5,000 pictures on their phones of their partners and children and none of them, and they will be on holiday or at home and they always start thinking, oh my God, like we're so cute over here. Why are you not capturing us? And the husband is just scrolling on his phone, you know, not seeing it. And this is where we come in. So like in my newborn sessions in the studio, and I know it's not really the done thing, like I make a little keepsake film and the mum might just be sat there feeding the baby and she's just cuddling the baby, changing the baby. It's really everyday stuff, but nobody is going to capture it for her.
I love that. I love that. No, I want to dive in a little bit more about talking about film because I love that you offer family films, and I that idea that you just like my brain just like lit up on fire on that one. So can you share maybe your advice on how do people get started with them and like where to even begin? Because it does, like when you're getting started with video, it feels really overwhelming.
It does, but I think that's probably the key thing, to not let it feel so overwhelming. Like just start really small and ease yourself in. And I think women particularly, we have this, unless someone comes and grants you permission, preferably with like a stamp that says good enough. Yeah, we don't post it and we just hide and go, oh, I'm not going to do it. Like, my work isn't the best work anywhere. Like, I'm not here because I have all the answers. I just think we need more conversation about this and we need more women doing it. And the more of us who can offer it, our families will become used to it. Everybody will talk about it more. And it's so valuable. So I just want to be part of that conversation. And I think everybody should just have a go. Like, give yourself some slack. Have a go.
Yeah, I love that.
Start small. Because I think we see a big, fully flown family film. And we might go, oh, right, I can do that. But there's a massive difference between if you go, right, I'm going to go with a family all day. They're going to be 3 different locations, 6 different activities, versus going, I'm going to go and just film a baby having a bath in the sink.
Yeah.
Like a small, start with a small activity and then build it up. And obviously, I know the editing and same approach, like just start so simple.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest hangups too with budding photographers is not just like shaky-handed video or like not getting things in focus, is the editing. So what advice do you have for maybe tiptoeing into like a software when you're just like, gosh, like I don't even know where to begin with this?
And I think that is exactly what people say. They look at like a fully flown family film and they go, I don't even know where to begin with the editing. Everybody's like, oh, I can record, I can press that button, I can record, but the editing. And I just think it's got itself such a bad reputation.
Yeah.
I think it sounds a little bit masculine, a little bit technical, and you load the software and you're like, I have no idea. But what we need to remember is once upon a time, we didn't even know how to use Photoshop.
Right.
And it is not difficult. It is not difficult. And there is a really easy option. We do not all have to take this massive Hollywood production level approach. We don't need all, you know, you see all the $200 dials in
All
front
these
of
things,
people.
you're just like, do I need that? No.
I have none of that. Like, I am not into gear. I'm not into editing. I'm into the final product, and I get there with minimal effort. And the other thing to remember, even though we go video editing, we're not coming from scratch, because we are photographers.
Yeah.
And we can draw on everything we know from editing pictures and use that. It's just getting to know a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of the software, and then you can build.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go and Google how to use Photoshop. You know a little bit, and then you go, how do you use a filter? How do you mask? How do you do a circle? And it's the same. Just learn the basic, get yourself a good workflow and a little format, and then go, now I know how to do this. I can go on Google. How do I do this? How do I do? You just need to get started.
Yeah, I love that. I know I'm a Final Cut Pro editor, and I think you're a DaVinci Resolve editor.
DaVinci, yeah.
And it's so funny because I've been keep opening DaVinci Resolve, and I'm like, nope, bye. Like I keep just like ghosting it.
But it's such a shame, because it's such an easy piece of software. Right, so I use the free version. I probably use 1% at a stretch of what that program can do, and I don't mind. Like, I'm absolutely at ease with the fact that I don't use the other 99%. And if I need them one day, then I'll go and work out how to do those. But if people would just not panic when they open it, like, you just need an hour with someone who will go, these are the only bits you need, because actually a lot of the terminology is the same. Like, we cull the footage, and then we are left with the stuff that we want to work on. And then a lot of the hue and the saturation, the contrast, the temperature is exactly the same terminology. You just need someone to show you where it is, and you'll go, oh, I know what that means. Yeah. And even down to, and I think people totally forget, overlook, or they don't know. In Photoshop, we work in layers. And it's the same in video editing. You can stack things, so you can put it on top of each other. You can change the opacity. We've got the, if you put something in with a transparent background, you can change the mode. And you've got all of those things just as you have in Photoshop. Yeah. So when you come to it with your photography brain on, it becomes much more, it feels more familiar than when you go, I can't do color grading. I can't do video editing. Yeah. Just keep it so simple.
Yeah. I think that's so true. And it's like, when you look at something and you're just like brand new. I mean, the first time I opened Photoshop, and I think this was like Photoshop Elements in like 2009, I walked away for like...
Me too. I was like, this is the most not intuitive program ever. No. You needed someone to just walk you through that, get you up and running. And now you're like, we don't even think how to do it, do we? We just do it.
No, and even like wrapping your head around layers, like just trying to understand, like, and then when you finally get it, you're like, layers.
Yes. Yeah. But it's also about, when we're photographers, we're so familiar. We have a set workflow. We just go through it and we know exactly what happens. And it's the same with the video. You just need to get yourself a set little workflow, and then that feels familiar. Yeah. And even get yourself a little, in the early days, a set little format of how you want your video to be. And like I said earlier, don't start out with a big family film. Go, at my next section, I'm going to record 2 or 3 little snippets of video, and I'm just going to create myself a little reel. And if you can work out how to put 2 or 3 of those clips onto a timeline, with 2 or 3 final pictures at the end, and maybe you put your logo at the end, maybe you put something that says contact me at the end, but you go, this is my format. I have a little bit of behind the scenes, I have my final pictures, and then I have my end slide. That's all I need. Yeah. And then you have a format, and you know to look for that format. Like, you go, I just need a couple of clips, I need the final pictures, my logo. Yep. Done.
Easy,
music,
done.
Whatever. Yep. But just keep it so simple. You do not have to color grade anything if you don't want to.
No. I love that. Now, I love video. I love video editing so much. And I actually do all of our promo videos for the Milky Way and for all my own content. But when it comes to doing family films for my clients, I don't offer it because I still feel like I'm not good enough. So can you share your thoughts on this and maybe how I can start to move past this?
Don't you think it's just back to that? We are vastly underestimating what we actually are able to offer. Because we're here comparing ourselves to the big people who we're really inspired by. But our clients aren't. They're not comparing us to them. They probably haven't had a family film done before. They will just be absolutely blown away by what you can give them. And someone would say at the minute you're depriving them of that opportunity because you're going, oh, I'm not good enough to do that. Like you've just, but like I said before, don't start with start with something simple. I think the other thing actually for us photographers, because we are typically there with our photographer hat on trying to add film onto it, and we're going, I'm going to miss this shot, I can't risk this, I can't. So you've got to be fair to yourself and go, if I am just here to make a film, then I need to set up a scenario where I am here to prioritize the film. Because it will feel totally different in you if you are there knowing I have time here to just film and not worrying about missing the shot. And then it will feel different. It will feel completely different to try and sneak it in between the pictures.
Yes.
And also a little trick, if you are trying to do both, there's typically a time in a session where something becomes a bit repetitive. You know, like, so I do a lot of kids on location. Sometimes if there's a log, they're climbing on the log, jumping back off, climbing on, jumping back off, and you think, I'm sort of, like, I've captured this now with stills, perhaps, and you go, so I'm going to swap to video because I'm now not worried about missing it because I've already done that. They might be tired, they might be snuggling with the mum and not really ready to come back out for more pictures, and just swap to video. So those moments where you feel you've done it anyway, that's where to start doing both.
I love that. I love that. I think that's absolutely right because I'm like, where do I fit this in? And I am worried that I'm going to, like, if I take too much time doing this, I'm going to miss something later down the road, and I only have this amount of time. So, and I think I stress myself out.
Which is putting yourself in a completely unrealistic situation because absolutely nobody in the entire world can create a family film during a photo shoot. That's not what happens. It's not what happens, and it's unfair to expect it of ourselves. We have to put ourselves in the right situation. So actually, the other thing, and you know, it's all mind games, isn't it? So a lot of my work, I call it a keepsake film, not a family film, because I feel there's a lot less pressure on the phrase a keepsake film.
Yes.
So like just some little glimpses and memories from your session. It doesn't have to have this big underlying storyline. It doesn't have to have a lot of the fancy flyings. You can literally see in my keepsake films, you can see that they were stood in the poses from the pictures, and I've just swapped, and you can see them sort of gently coming out of those poses and moving away. But the footage lines up with the pictures pretty much, like, bang on. Which that's not what happens in a real family film. But I'm also, you know, as we get a little bit older, do you find this? In our early days, a trainer says you must do this, and you're like, right, I must do that.
Yes.
And then we get a bit older, and I'm a little bit, do what you want. Like, just because someone calls a family film is this, you can do whatever you want. You can call it whatever you want. You can use whatever gear you want. You can, like, don't let anybody tell you that you have to do it in a certain way.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. I've actually done a family film on an iPhone, and it was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I do a lot of stuff when we go on holiday and whatever. I do a lot of stuff on the phone, and it's fine.
Yeah. Agreed.
Actually, one of the things, so because my boys are a little bit older now, when we do go away on holiday, because, you know, they're like certain trends now with like transitions and stuff, and they're really into that. So they will bring ideas for transitions. So I think for like those older teeny kids, maybe that's a way they're more inclined to come and do video with you than pictures, because they've grown out of that whole sit and look pretty for me. But they'll do cool transitions because they've seen them, and they'll help you research them. And
I love that because, like, I love TikTok. I love Reels. I love, like, all the creativity behind it. And that's actually one thing I haven't really seen all that much is, like, that creativity and that transition taken back into our industry in doing, like, those kind of transitions in filmmaking.
But that's because at the minute there's a little bit of this underlying tone that a family film is soft and calm and slowed down, and it's all about being beautiful, and it totally is. But it doesn't mean that you can't go and do something else. You can do something that's upbeat and funny, and if that's the family you are working with, then do that. And if you want to just try and get your own kids in, then do that.
Yeah, I love that. So fun. So can we talk a little bit about B-roll and why it's important?
I think, you know, if you're new to film and you're like, B what? I see it a little bit as like the detail shots of photography. You know, in a wedding, you would do the flowers and the ribbons and the rings, and you do all of like the environment around. And it's exactly the same in film, but it does add so much wow. If you might have like just close-up footage of the mom's hands going through the curls of the hair, you might just have like lovely light coming through the foliage, or you've seen a reflection or a shadow, or you know, just the environment. It's just that extra indulgent sort of,
I love
it's
it.
some of the wow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
it's beautiful, and it's so helpful when it comes to editing,
yeah.
because it will help with transition. Sometimes it's gorgeous for openings, sometimes they're good endings. And it just, you know, when you're a child and at school and you go, and then like in your essays you're writing, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. Don't make your films like that, like, and then this happened, and then this
Yeah.
happened, and then this happened. So B-roll, it softens that and breaks that, and sort of allows the viewer to get that emotional, oh, they don't know why they
Yes.
like it, but they're just so engrossed in it. There's not even your family, and you're like crying.
Yeah.
And it's because it has that beautiful softness.
Yeah. Oh, I love B-roll. Because I edit all of our videos when they come in for our promo videos. And so when our teachers like submit B-roll, I get so excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me the B-roll.
And again, it's a build, because if you start off just doing little keepsakes from your shoots, then initially you're just delighted you got some footage.
Yes.
And then you will begin to go, oh, look at the light coming through here. Oh, the flowers. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that little girl having those flowers in her hand. And you will just start to see it and pick it up.
Yeah.
But from day one, there's no point beating yourself up because you came back and you didn't have any B-roll.
Yeah.
So just gradually build on it. And sometimes if you're somewhere gorgeous, I come back and I go, I've got more B-roll than actual kids
You're
here.
like,
Like, what happened?
totally. I love
But
that.
it's very indulgent, very indulgent.
I love B-roll. I love it. It's funny.
Yeah.
I did a home video. My son, he's like, Mom, he's like, can you make a video of me riding my dirt bike in our yard? And we made the coolest ones. Like put my camera down and like had him like scooch by and like just drive by and like throw the dirt and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty fun.
But that's again, like, get him doing something he likes to do, you know,
Yeah.
an activity, because then he buys into it a little bit. Like
Yeah.
so our kids, they're quite into like their tri clubs and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, can you take some pictures of me on the new bike?" And you're like, oh, "Yeah, I absolutely can. Like, I'm there."
Yes.
But you know, the things that they like, are you like jump on that beyond
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's so fun because he loves it. And he plays it for all of his friends. And I set it to like music. And actually, that's my next question is about music. So when it comes to making family films, like I think selecting music is probably one of my favorite parts. So do you have any tips on that, but also making sure people stay legal?
Why no? I honestly, I'm actually quite big on the whole legal thing. I think, you know, come on, guys, we are creatives. If
Yeah.
someone takes our pictures and goes, oh, well, I'm just using it on my own little Instagram page, so it's fine. Like, we get upset, and likewise, so hence we've got to respect that they are also artists and they deserve recognition
Yeah.
and payment for their work. So yeah, I agree. Like, the music makes all the difference, and yeah, while it's nice to look for, actually I get a little bit frustrated sometimes with that, because you know you want to find exactly the right song, and
Hmm.
sometimes you're just like, what is it? And I have a little bit, you know, you try not to use the same song for like another family, and so I spend a lot of time listening to music. But like, I use all of the sites, you know, like Music Bed and Triple Scoot, and like Bensound, you can get some free stuff. I use an app called Splice when I edit on my phone. So like when
Yeah.
I'm doing cool transitions and holiday, and like you say, you're recording on your iPhone, then I use that on my phone, and that comes with a built-in music library. But I would never use something that isn't legal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always would. But in terms of like tips for using, I think, or like choosing it, get used to using the filters in the, like, because you can choose on mood and
Yeah.
genre and like the pace. Do you want really fast? And don't always by default fall into it has to be slowed down and it has to be
Yeah.
really slow. And like you said, if you're doing something with your little boy on a dirt bike, like, that's not
That's not
slow, is
slow
it?
motion. It's like
No.
fast and
Yeah, or
like,
speed ramping, or you
yeah.
know, like a mix, or
Yeah.
so yeah. And I know this is really geeky and this is not for day one, but with time you become used to looking at the little sound scopes and you can almost predict what the track's going to sound like without listening to it. Like I said, lots of like transitions. Will it be really fast paced? Will it? So yeah, if you've got tons of footage, you can do something that changes really fast. And if you're like, I really don't have enough footage for this, choose something where there's sort of longer segments and you don't have to change so fast, perhaps.
I love it because I picked this piece of like it was a royalty free piece of music I think I got from Audio Jungle, and it was so funny because this one part it kind of slows down and it's like like this like rocking guitar. So I slowed down the video and he's like taking off his helmet. He goes like and slicks it. It is so cheesy and so fabulous.
Yes,
and he loves it.
But it's also amazing when you find a track that has that variation. So some like fast and then that slow, and then you can kind of jump back into the action when it builds again. Yeah.
Oh, it's so
fun.
But
again, this is the bit where people shouldn't go, oh, I don't know how to do that. Yeah. You do not need to do that on day one. You've just got to get going and then go, oh, I have this footage now that would lend itself really well to that. I'm going to work out how to do it. It's not hard. It's pretty much all drag and drop, isn't it?
Yeah, it truly is. It truly is. And figuring out the transitions and how to like, you know, get the audio to like blend and ramp up too. It's fun. I get lost in video editing, honestly.
Yeah, me too. And I think it's nice, and it can take time when you get lost in it, but it's a nice kind of way. But it's just super important for new people to remember it does not have to be that way.
No. It could be it could be easy, it could be simple, and it doesn't have to feel overwhelming at all. No. I love that. So are you ready for our lightning round?
Yeah, go.
Okay. What do you like to cook the most if you like to cook?
I'm probably quite into the whole pasta thing.
Like a homemade pasta?
No, just like, well, actually, yeah, I did do the whole pasta making course, and we do sometimes make it. We do have the pasta maker. But no, I just like stuff that tastes really nice, but doesn't take a lot of effort. And,
I like that. Yeah. Best gift you've ever received?
This is not very impressive, but it was my birthday in December, and you come down and you wrap all the presents are there ready, and I pulled my chair out and there was a present on my chair, and I could tell by the look on my husband's face, he was like, I have no idea what this is. And the boys had gone off all by themselves to the little village shop with their own money and brought me one of those big Toblerone and wrapped it and done a card without anybody knowing, and I just thought, oh, that was so sweet.
That is so sweet.
So not very grand, but I remember it.
That's so touching. I love that. What's your favorite comfort food?
Oh, chocolate.
Yeah, chocolate's good.
Chocolate cake. Anything with chocolate. It's so bad. So bad.
Favorite movie?
Oh, we're going to be in cheesy stuff like Legends of the Fall or The Greatest Showman or...
Yes, I love that. I love me a rom-com. What did you want to be when you were a kid?
Do you know, I was one of those kids, I didn't really know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I think I just wanted to be good at something. I just wanted to find something I could be good at. Is that really bad?
No, I love that. Go-to song that lifts you up when you're down?
We've got to be back into cheesy stuff. I don't know, like Raw by Katy Perry or back into The Greatest Showman stuff.
Yes. This is me. Oh,
yes. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and if I can watch the video at the same time, even better.
Yes. Okay, here's a hilarious story. So we were on vacation at Moon Palace in Mexico a few years ago, and it was right before Christmas. And they had everything decorated, and we were wandering around, and all of a sudden it looked like there was this great big event that was dressed up like a circus. And so we're thinking this is just an event for all of the people at the resort. So we wander in, and it's like they got circus performers everywhere, like trapeze people, like it was done up. And all of us, there was this center area where there was this stage and all these couches around it, but no one was sitting on the couches, and we couldn't figure out why. We're like, there's got probably about 500 people here. Like, it is packed party. So we got our drinks, we sit down on the couch. All of a sudden, this lady in this costume comes over and she starts talking to us. All of a sudden, music starts. all of a sudden there's this flash mob of people singing to This Is Me in circus performance. We had like the front like VIP section. We had crashed a company's Christmas party. No, we didn't know it, and we were stuck there.
Oh, I love that you just went for front row as well. Like, oh, this is
yeah, we were just
good.
like, we'll just sit here. That's fine.
Oh, I love that so much.
But oh
was
my
it really
gosh,
good?
I have it on video on my phone because I was like, I am. And then they probably had at least like $20,000 worth of fireworks that they lit off. Like it was insane. It was insane. It was so cool.
You were clearly meant to be there.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good story.
So funny. So funny. I love it. Oceans or mountains, and why?
Do you know what? I just like anything with a spectacular view. I don't even mind if it's mountains or lakes. I just like that feeling of vast space and calm and no people.
I love it. What has been the best piece of business advice you've ever been given?
I don't know if this is the best piece of advice, but something that I've heard recently that kind of lingers a little bit was someone said it's okay for people to see that you're trying. Yeah. I think sometimes we have this feeling that everything that we output has to look like we have it all together and it has to be so perfect and tried and tested. And actually it's okay to go, I'm going to try this. Is anybody interested in this? Or go, oh, I don't like this. I'm not going to do it anymore. Or try different content on, Instagram. And if we don't like it, then change it again. Because I think it's so true. No one is okay with seeing that we're trying. Like we feel like no one should see us trying, right? Yeah. It should look effortless.
It's so funny because like when I see someone do something that I think is brave, I never think like, oh, what an idiot. Like I think, wow, like you just impressed me so much. I am so on your team rooting for you. Yeah. You know what
completely.
I mean? Like
yeah. Oh,
and so why do we assume that other people are like, you look stupid? Like no one like people don't say that. If they do, why do you care what they think?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've kind of taken that on board a little bit and just gone, it's okay to try stuff. It's okay.
Love that. What advice do you have for someone who is just starting out?
Knowing that absolutely all of us find it really hard to enter a new arena and take up space in there. So all of those feelings of not good enough, looking for permission, we all have those. So just know that it's not just you, it's absolutely everybody. And I think find a really good group of like business besties. It doesn't have to be photographers, just other local real world business people who will, listen to you and bounce ideas. And when you go, this is tough, hey? Yeah. They'll go, yeah, I know. A little bit like your mum crowd when you've got that newborn baby. Yeah. And you just need people who are in the same arena with you. Yeah. That's what I would find, a good crowd, good tribe.
Love that. Love that. So where can our listeners learn more from you?
So my party is mainly on Instagram. It's not really a party. It's more like hot chocolate and marshmallows, I think. But I'm more on Instagram than anywhere else. And like if anybody is interested in getting going with video, whether that's in how to record or editing, then, I have an online course on that and I do one-to-one and I just make it so simple. I can just get going with what you've got.
Love
and
that.
I can get you editing in like an hour. It's so simple.
That. Yes. So I love to end my interviews just with this last question. And it is, what are you currently curious about or artistically curious about?
So this might be a little bit too sort of cold and businessy, but I am a little bit curious at the minute about different types of collaborations or sort of the whole brand ambassador, that sort of area. I feel everybody, says, oh, you should network with other local baby businesses. And I do, and have great relationships with them. But I'm just wondering if there's other things. So I have a customer who I've probably photographed for 6-7 years, and we've just done her third baby. And in that time, she's set up a business which has a really big following. And we did a family film for her, and she used some of that footage on her own account. Like she just took a few of the snippets out and put some of her own wording on. And it had like 850,000 views. And I'm thinking, that's more views than any of mine get. So I'm thinking, like, I think there's a space for different collaborations or brand ambassadors in this video space, because I think so much of the content is those beautiful, calm video clips, and actually you don't have to really edit it in to be a film if you're just doing the little clips. So I don't have the answers. I don't know where I'm going with this, but that's where my curiosity lies at the minute. And I actually got a couple of those collaborations to test out, and I'm doing the first one on Tuesday. So
Cool.
yeah, we'll see.
Fun. I love that. Well, thank you for joining with me today and chatting with me. This has been fun.
No, thank you a million for having me. Absolutely delighted.
Oh, my beautiful friends, I hope you have loved this conversation just as much as I have. I am sending you so much of my light and my love today and every single day. We will see you next time.